Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Natalie Cutler-Welsh here. Welcome to the Up Your Brave live stream. I'm so excited to have my gorgeous friend Getrude with us today. She is from Her Story Summit. Hey, Getrude, how are you?
Hey, Nat. It's great to reconnect with you. Wonderful to connect with your community this morning.
I am so thrilled that we're going to be talking about speaking. So both of us are so into speaking and helping people to really get their message out. I know that you've got your exciting summit coming up. So I thought it was such a great chance to tell people about it, because I know that some people in my community are involved, but not everybody. It's hard to miss, it's hard to catch everything that's going on. So I wanted to make sure we dive into that and to talk about this topic, which is the importance and the power of speaking and sharing your story. And you are totally an expert in this field. So before we dive in, you guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory on Getrude. And just a little shout out to my friend Jen, who's in Wellington as well. And she connected us, and that was such a beautiful connection. So always shouting out to people who are like me, connectors, and introducing people as they go. So Getrude Matshe is founder and global curator for Her Story Circle. She's an international guest speaker, 3 times Tedx speaker, podcaster, author, philanthropy consultant, diversity and empathy consultant, and an all-around amazing woman and a mother as well. So, oh my goodness, so exciting to talk to you. So can you give us a little bit of backstory on how you came into this area of empowering people? And I know, like me, you also want to change the world for good, and you're doing so much social good as well. So how did it all start?
Nat, it started with my own speaking career. As you know, I'm from Zimbabwe originally. And when I moved to New Zealand, I published a book, and I was just trying to raise money to support my immediate family members back home in Zimbabwe. This is my second pandemic. And when I moved to New Zealand 20 years ago, we're in the middle of the AIDS pandemic. Cost $5 to send a child to school. So I self-published a book, and I started selling the book and giving free presentations. And it morphed into this amazing international speaking career. So as I've been traveling around the world, I started identifying other women who had amazing stories, who needed to be supported, who needed to be mentored. I would help set up women's cooperatives wherever I could see women being able to sell their art or their craft or their ideas in different ways. And I would set up women's cooperatives. The Her Story Summit started last year. I was recovering from heart failure. I had gone through a separation, a divorce, ended up really, really ill. And I collapsed with congestive heart failure in Bali, Indonesia. And I realized at that point that my work would just stop the day that I died. And I wanted what I had started to continue. I wanted to leave a legacy. And I put out on Facebook in February last year that I wanted to create women's circles all over the world where women can come and share their stories, share their ideas, learn how to collaborate and connect. So we launched in Las Vegas in July, had a conference here in Wellington, had one in Sydney. Beginning of the year, I went to Norway, I went to London, I went to New York. Then COVID caught up with me. I had to cancel 15 events in Canada and North America, but ended up doing a few events in Auckland, Hamilton, and in Australia before everything came to a head. So we've had to pivot. We've had to think of other ways that we can stay connected. And now we're having our first online summit on the 28th of November to the 13th of December. And we are looking for speakers. We are going to have 255 speakers, 15 speakers a day for 17 days.
Oh my gosh.
The first 2 days will be here in New Zealand. The next 7 days are in Australia, different time zones. 1 day in Vietnam, 3 days in the UK and Europe, and 3 days in the US and Canada. So that's what I'm working on now. And it is unraveling in the most magical, magical way. Really having fun with it.
One of the things I remember when we first connected, after Genevieve McLaughlin connected us, and you were telling me about this summit, and I was like, I've been on summits, they're 3 days, 5 days maybe, and you were telling me your plan, 250 or whatever speakers. And I'm just thinking, this woman is a go-getter. It's like go big or go home. So congratulations. And I'm just seeing you do it. Like, I know you have only 5 places for this current summit. You're going to be doing another one in January. So I wanted to do a little, let people know, if you're watching live or later, give us a comment. Let us know, first of all, going back to the topic of everyone has a story to share. Do you agree?
I totally agree. And a lot of times people don't honor their stories. They don't honor their life experiences. They actually say that the best places in the world are graveyards because they're full of people who had brilliant ideas, brilliant stories, and they didn't have the courage to step up and share them.
And I love that that's what you do. You actually help people to, I use the phrase up their brave, but have not just the courage, but the platform and a little bit of the coaching to actually share their story. So live or later, if you guys are watching, go ahead and let us know, like, do you feel like you actually have a story? If you are a speaker or an aspiring speaker, let us know what your topic is. It's so interesting. I find it so fascinating when I meet other speakers, and I love connecting with other speakers. What is your favorite thing to talk about? I ask them, like, what is your favorite topic at the moment to really speak into? And so go ahead and comment. Anyone that's going to watch, I see that Pat's joining us. I think she's over in Australia. Because everyone has multiple stories to share, right? And multiple messages. So I definitely want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you. So we will dive into that a little bit later. But tell us a little bit more about the event. Like, how does it work? How do you manage all these countries and all these people? What can people expect?
So we have chairpersons in different locations who will be manning the platform for the day. We have 15 speakers a day speaking in a panel of 5 each. So it's very much like a TED Talk style platform where you speak for 15 minutes. We stop at the end of the 5 and have a forum. So we're really getting our audience to engage with the speakers, comment, ask questions. So you're not just coming to a conference to listen to a bunch of speakers the whole day. You're actually part of the dialogue. We then break for lunch after the first 2 sessions. And during the lunch break and at the end of the day, we're having a speed networking event so that everybody can get a feel that you've gone to a real event and you've met a bunch of people you would never have met if you hadn't come to this event. So that's kind of how the day rolls out. And it's going to be on the time zone of each of those countries, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning and finishing around 7 o'clock in the evening.
And so you've got 200 plus speakers. And then what are you thinking for audience? Like how many people are going to be tuning in?
Well, our audience, most of our speakers bring at least 10 to 20 people to the platform. So we'll have an average of about 300 people every single day. And we are selling tickets. It's only $20 for you to come. If you want to attend the full 17 days, it's $199. So we've given a bit of a discount there. And just remembering that, coming to this platform, you're going to get content that is very varied. It's not just entrepreneurs that we are targeting. You have got people talking about business and entrepreneurship. We have health and wellness stories, family and relationships, creativity. In the creativity section, people are dancing, they can sing, they can paint a picture. We have social justice activists. So it's a very wide spectrum of content.
I know. I love that you put in that section for people. It's not just speaking. It can be, they can sing, they can dance, they can read a poem. It's incredible. So I know you've done them before in person and they were absolutely incredible. So for people that are going to be, I guess, doing their first one, right? So someone that's already committed, they've done the application process with you. What is one of your golden tips for them, before they go ahead and do their little 15-minute slot? What advice can you give?
The biggest advice I give speakers is learn to speak from the heart. People are trained, they go for speakers training, Toastmasters, and you can learn to speak technically with your head. A lot of people go into their heads when they present. I help people drop down into their heart and have that heart-to-heart connection with the audience. I think that's the very most important thing. It's about your authenticity, your vulnerability, and just being real so people can actually relate to you. and relate to your story.
Because some of the stories people are sharing, like you said, there's such a diverse range, but some of them will be quite, they'll be sharing some of the more challenging or traumatic pieces of their life. And of course, I would always give advice to people, I'm sure you probably agree, is if you haven't processed it yourself, probably don't share it on stage, but you still obviously are very connected to it. It's a pivotal point in your life. So there's going to be a range of topics and issues coming up.
Yes. And, for people who do have a lot of emotional issues, problems, pasts, we get a lot of sexual abuse stories, domestic violence stories. We mentor and coach our speakers before they come onto the platform so that they tell the story from an empowered space. What did you do with your life afterwards? And you speak as if you're speaking to somebody else who's in the same situation right now, is trying to find a way out, and then you become the door. Your story becomes the how-to for them to navigate out of a bad situation as well. So that's the other aspect to this platform. It's not just a matter of coming and dumping people with a lot of sad stories. There's a huge variety, a very wide spectrum of content.
I love the way you say turning their pain into power.
Yeah. That's what it is. I believe that we go through what we go through in life so we can become teachers. And in the sharing, in Africa, we believe that a problem shared is a problem halved. So we're actually finding that our platform is turning into a very healing space for women, just to be heard and to be held with no judgment. We're just there to support each other. And the end result is the collaboration that happens afterwards. I'm just blown away when I start hearing the stories of what women are doing right across the globe. We started a scholarship program so that the women who couldn't afford to pay the registration fee had somebody in the network sponsor them. So we've managed to get a lot of women onto our platform whose voices would never, ever be heard on an international platform like this. And that's what really excites me, because I'm from Africa, I'm from those communities, and the conference is turning into a bridge with people in the developing world being supported by those in the developed world. And it's really making such a difference.
I mean, for me, I studied international development in Canada, and I knew I wanted to help in some way. But when I went to Guyana, I honestly just felt like a white girl that wasn't a farmer and wasn't a doctor. And who was I to help? And it's so fascinating, isn't it? How life comes and brings different things and different people into your life. And I'm so pleased that our paths cross, because I feel like by helping you get the message out about your event, together we can help people around the world and with their message, but also the projects that you do are so amazing. I also want to mention it's not just women. I know you have some spots for men as well.
Yes. Yeah, I believe that until women start bringing men into the table, into the room, the condition for women and children globally won't change. So 25% of our speakers are men. We have had some extremely enlightened men grace our stages. And so we're open. If there's any men out there who have a story, who want to share, who want to connect with some really dynamic women, please feel free to apply as well.
I am making a note. I've got a few great people coming to mind. So just to clarify, if someone's sitting here listening thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I've been meaning to share my story, or I've been wanting to share my story, maybe this is the opportunity. You know how life does that. It presents us with opportunities and we decide, am I ready? But don't think too hard. Listen to your heart, right? Or you might be wanting to share your story, and this is an opportunity. So if someone's sitting there thinking, I think I'm going to put myself forward, maybe someone else might be thinking, but I've already done a lot of speaking. I'm already an experienced speaker. Is it for both of those people?
It is. We're actually aiming for first-time speakers. What I found is that if a person has the ability to communicate, it transcends your relationships at home, with a partner, with a husband, in the workplace. It helps you gain confidence with your children. For me as an African mother, being so empowered with the use of my voice, I know my daughter is a much better woman for it. I know that my sons will respect women in a different way. So it's that ripple effect of the ability to communicate. That's what her story is really all about. Even if you've never spoken before, you'll get a lot of support. I coach and mentor people to get onto the TED platform, because being on TED amplified my voice in such a big way. You could talk in a room with 5 people, but once you're on TED.com's website, you're speaking to millions. So I'm about helping thought leaders, people who really want to make the world a better place, find a platform to get their stories out.
And you're in Wellington, but you also, where else did you do your TED Talks?
So I did a TED Talk in upstate New York last year. I did one in Auckland. I did another one in Wellington, was the very first one. So it's been fascinating, and also getting the mentoring and support and coaching on how to synthesize my idea, because 15 minutes is not a long time. And a lot of time people waffle, they don't get straight to the point, they don't give people a call to action so they can actually implement the idea that's worth spreading. So that's another important aspect of coming onto our platform and getting this coaching and mentoring as well.
So speaking is one way to deliver your story. I know that the other thing that you've done, which I think is so cool, is not only have you leveraged that opportunity for the woman, you've given them another way to get their story out with you books. And is that right? You take some of the stories and you put them into a book.
Yeah, so we are publishing a series of anthologies. We publish 10 stories in each volume. So you actually come out of this experience, not just as a speaker, but a published author as well. We have a Her Story magazine. Again, we curate the essence of every single person who's coming and sharing. And that goes out to our entire global community as well.
I love it. I love it. I love how you think so big. It's very inspirational. Okay. So so for people that are thinking, I don't want to speak, I'm all good, but this sounds interesting. What can they expect? What is the benefit of them spending, what was it, $20 for one day, or getting the whole pack for 100 and something? What can they expect? What's it going to be like for them?
So you not only get to experience these speakers, we have a workshop series running from the 14th of December till the 18th. So if there's anybody that you heard speaking and you're inspired to connect with them in a smaller, more intimate group, we have a workshop schedule. So you can actually come and attend those workshops at no cost. So that's another benefit for people who are coming.
Yeah, I love that, because there's one thing sitting and being an audience member, but it does sometimes take time to process what's been said, to really work through. Some of the stories will resonate, some of them won't with everybody, right? But then to have the opportunity to meet, is it on a smaller scale on Zoom? Is that what you're talking about with that speaker?
Yeah. Correct. And then, of course, you can tune into all of our coaching programs, our mentoring programs as well, and become part of this community. We are literally an army of women out in the world trying to do some good.
Yay, that is music to my ears. And the timing is incredible. I feel like, end of 2020, moving into 2021, and people are coming together in new ways, and they're really deciding, what they're going to stand up for and take a stand for, and what they're going to let go of in their life, what they're not going to, maybe it's habits that they're not going to repeat, or relationships that they're not going to, carry on having, or whatever it is. So this is such a pivotal time, and I love that your summit's happening now.
Yeah, we decided to do it at the end of the year. You know how people always have these New Year's resolutions and you never quite meet the goal you set out in January. Now you might meet a coach, you might meet a mentor, you might meet somebody who can help you along the way. So we decided to do it this time of the year. And of course, we're going to have more events next year. Our next event is going to be in January 15th to the 31st, similar format. And then every other month, March, July, we're going to be having similar events globally online.
It's all go, people. So if you're watching and you're interested in either attending or being one of the speakers, either at this November, December, or the January one, or in the future, get in touch. We'll put the link in the comments, and you can mention that you saw the live stream. And we're very excited to see what happens, and just to help more people get their story out to the world. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
There is another opportunity that I almost forgot to mention. So we are trying to find our first group of speakers. We are filming a TV series. We're going to turn the platform into a reality TV show where people come to New Zealand. They're filmed almost like The Voice or American Idol or New Zealand Idol, but for speakers. So we are actually auditioning people throughout this process for the first handful of speakers who will come to New Zealand to film the pilot. So that's another opportunity there.
More on that later. Oh my gosh, love it. Big thinking, big impact. And I'm so excited. So one of the things I say about me is I am the go-to girl. That's what I'm known for, connecting people, helping them to amplify their impact. But what I love as well, I love to help the people who help the people. And so you definitely, my darling, you definitely are helping the people. Congratulations on all the incredible work you're doing.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on your show. This is awesome. You have just widened my network of connections. I'm eternally grateful for that.
Oh, I'm so excited. This will be very exciting. Bring it, 2021. Let's do this. But before then, we're going to have your summit in November, December. So at this point, I think you mentioned there were 5 places left for this upcoming one.
Yes, and we need 20 more backup speakers. So we're just preempt that somebody might get ill or not be able to get onto a connection. Some of our speakers in Africa don't have electricity that's consistent. So we probably need about 25 more people. 20 are going to be backups, but definitely 5 will speak. So please register. The website is thehoststorycircle.com.
Amazing. I think, first of all, that's so smart. I love that you've got this contingency plan. It's very, very smart, especially these days. And because I know a lot of people have already booked in for the January one. They're thinking, I can't do this one. I'll do the next one. So for you guys that are watching, maybe this is the sign you've been waiting for. Maybe this is the opportunity. You know, the door's open. Are you going to walk through? Whether you're going to be in the audience, listening and really being inspired, or maybe helping to process your own journey by listening to someone else's. And realizing you're not alone, or maybe it's your moment to up your brave and share your story. Whatever your path you take, we're so excited. Thank you, Getrude. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, everybody. See you at the summit.
Amazing. All right, guys, until next time, this is Natalie Cutler-Welsh. Remember to up your brave, say what you want, and make it happen. See you guys.
Thank you.